While she was a student, Liv Little often found herself asked to speak on behalf of all marginalised voices as the only person of colour in a room. So she decided to build her own room. She founded Gal Dem magazine, a place and community where anyone could talk not just about their trauma, but about their joys and passions. It was the creation of a home that helped and inspired many people over the 8 years for which it ran. She then took that search for spiritual, emotional belonging as the theme for her debut novel, Rosewater.
We meet like my main character when she's losing stability and like her sense of home and her safety, but there's also a lot of home that she's able to find in the people in her life. And I think for me, having a physical home that is my own, a place to return to is really important, but it's also about who and where and how do I feel safe.
I'm Chris from Canopy Stars, and this is A Life More Wild. You'll join Liv now for a walk along the Kent coast as she talks about creativity, loss, grounding herself by the sea, and trying to keep her socks dry.
We're on a very pebbly, we're on a very sandy, actually, seaweedy beach. There are lots of like rocks and things kind of ahead of us. I can see like a big kind of ferry boat in the distance. We're right next to one of the tidal pools, so where people can go swimming. I go to one like a little bit further up, and but we're by one of the tidal pools. And to our right, there are more buildings that's pointing in the direction of the town and like some of the cute restaurants. There's a pier actually, which is really nice to sit on in the summer, on the kind of like top level and have a drink. There's like a Caribbean restaurant on that pier actually. Yeah, there's so much kind of intersecting and going on in this one spot even. So many different kinds of people and I don't know, vibes and connections to this place, I think. I'm someone that has always been drawn to the sea. I'm a water baby. I feel very comfortable in the water, near the water, by the water. I'm like of Caribbean heritage. So I have a relationship with this body of water. This is not the Caribbean for sure. But I think, my partner and I were talking about this and there was a little piece of us that was searching for something that felt like home in that way. And there's something very peaceful about being by the sea and something very grounding actually about being by the sea. Something that reminds you that you're a small part of a much bigger thing. And I think there have been lots of transitions, changes in my life, a lot of loss, a lot of beauty as well, a lot of joy. But yeah, coming here and sticking my toes in the sand and taking off my shoes and feeling where the water meets the earth, there's something really grounding, as I said, about that. And we moved out of London 2 years ago in the pandemic, amongst, I think, a lot of other people who were doing and feeling the same. It's a lot easier for me to feel in my body, I think, here. I love London. I do love South London. I love it. That's where I'm from. That's where my book is set. It's an important place to me, but this is also now an important place to me. We're just stepping through a pool of water on the beach, trying not to soak our socks, which I love. But growing up, nature has always been like an important part of my life. Like I would go, especially with my stepdad, my mum, my stepbrother, my little sister, before my sister was even a thing, we would go camping in like the Lake District, the Peak District, and like go gill scrambling and like be it very much like in nature. And I loved that and I enjoyed that and I feel really like safe in that. And actually, like when I was writing Rosewater as well, I had a friend of a friend of a friend that had someone's auntie or something had this little room in the bottom of her garden in Oxford, surrounded by like flowers. She grew flowers to sell in the market, and I sat there and I wrote I kind of like broke the initial part of the story. But there's something really special about me, I don't know, feeling like when I'm in nature, I'm able to really just focus on and be present in a way, you know, and just sit with myself and with my thoughts. Like my family, I'm half Jamaican and half Guyanese, right? And so Jamaica, which is, you know, the parish that I'm from, St. Elizabeth, they call it like the like fruit basket of Jamaica. It's like where so much kind of produce and things are grown and has a rich history. And my dad died a year ago, and like his love of Jamaica, his desire to return to Jamaica is something that he's given me. Like he's given me Jamaica, he's given me that rich culture and history and love of the land. But yeah, I mean, it's a very different landscape, it's a very different history, it's a very different thing. And I think expressing my love of it is not saying that it's without complications or issues or anything like that, but it's like it just feels really great. And I think when I would go on holiday, this was also because I was really extremely anxious and stressed and like always under pressure with work. But I used to like have panic attacks often. And I remember having one on a plane coming back from holiday because I was like, I have to go back to the UK and I have to go back to all of these things, right? And it's like, I don't have that anymore. Like I feel I'm like excited to come back to my home and to my partner and to like the home and the life that we have. And that feels really special. And that says a lot about what these beaches I think have given me. And there is I can't even, you know, this is just one walk and talk kind of conversation that we're having here, but I have so many beautiful conversations with people where we are just walking. That's a horse. Sorry, someone's galloping over on a white horse. That's nuts. I've not seen that before. So, wow. And through the water, it's giving, I don't know, movie. I'm like, is that her personal horse or their personal horse? Like, what's going on? Anyway, there's a black and white, quite stunning stallion running through the beach. I mean, I'm being published by two really amazing publishing houses, Dialogue Books in the UK and Get Lifted Books, and John Legend's company in the US. And like, I don't know, I spent a lot of my career kind of like supporting people and telling their stories and trying to do so with love and with care. And I feel like I've really ended up with companies or with people, editors, publishers who really get it and who have handled my work and me with a lot of care and a lot of love and genuine passion and enthusiasm for the work. And that's been really special. So my publisher here, Charmaine, she's like one of the most senior kind of like black women in publishing, I think, in Europe. But she's also a really great friend and human being and person. And I had multiple offers, but it was a no-brainer that I would go with her. And I think with John Legend and his team, he has an amazing editor called Kaylin, who I've just loved working with. She's so smart. And it's been amazing, of course, to have John Legend's support and like input, and also just, I mean, like, I like talking to people about characters and stories. So it's been Like, it's fun to sit and talk with him and about the characters and the things and the themes and family and food and stuff that spoke to him about the work, you know. And we're all just people trying to make art and connect, and like that's kind of what it is. So of course it's fantastic, and he's a huge name, but it's also just been really nice on like a human level to see how that story has translated and connected with people here and also people in the US. A lot of the themes and the things that are explored within the book, they connect with people more broadly on like a human level, because the themes of like home and belonging, family, of like figuring out your place, of like the fears of vulnerability around opening yourself up to love, of asking for help, of like making art and making money from making art, of finding security in a world which is really insecure, and like all of those things are very like, I suppose, universal feelings. So Gal Dem was a platform that I set up age 21, baby girl. But really it was born out of a desire to connect with, to find community, and with the remit to platform, I suppose, the creative stories from people of colour, from marginalised genders, but like across a broad spectrum of topics, because I think often in specifically the journalism landscape, you know, writers of colour tend to be asked solely to mind their trauma, and as much as that might be a part of the experience that you want to share, there's also needs to be space for joy and light and exploration, I think, really. Experimenting and being allowed the time and space to stay curious is important. And I did that for many years. I stepped back in 2020 to kind of focus on my own writing practice, my own well-being. I would like to think that Gal Dem has been able to kind of contribute to shifts in the wider media landscape. I think still riddled with issues, and you know, it's independent media. It's like a hard thing to sustain. But I think in terms of like the impact, in terms of like even, I don't know, I suppose watching the ways in which I have grown and my peers have grown, and like the way that everyone's creative practice have kind of shifted and has evolved, and considering that was where a lot of us will have written our first kind of pieces, I think it's been beautiful to map that. And I meet a lot of young writers, a lot of women, a lot of like black women as well, which like fills me with like warm feelings, who say, you know, that was the first place that published me, or it was a place where I read a story that I could really connect with, and it meant a lot and it inspired me, or whatever, or I met my best friend through it. Like, I think those are really beautiful things, and I think that legacy and that feeling, those things never die, you know, even if the physical platform no longer exists. That feeling, that proof that actually like it is okay to take up space, that to me is a really special, beautiful thing, and I feel really proud of all of the things that we achieved. And I think 8 years is pretty impressive, really. My brain just doesn't have the space to, I suppose, find like joy in creating and making work. And so, you know, the move out of that and towards something that is slightly more grounded and rooted in nature. There were like many different layers as to why that was something that I needed and my partner needed as well. So it was like, it's not just like you move out of London and your life is fixed. There's like a lot of internal work and things that have to go on as well. A lot of healing, a lot of therapy, a lot of like resetting your life. Not necessarily your values, but the things that you value, as in the things that you prioritize. And I think for now, I feel at the moment anyway, it feels like I have this I'm getting somewhere in having like a balance where I love my work and I'm really enjoying it, but it's also not the most important part of my life. It's a part of my life. And like being happy and going for a walk and spending time with loved ones and taking time to be in nature, those things are like really important components for me being happy. and being able to there show up in the world and then make art and creativity that is full of joy and complexity and messiness and chaos and pain and heartbreak and love. And it's, I mean, I'm even just like, I'm looking around, and it's interesting also, like, I don't always take a moment to really like actually look around at my surroundings properly, and it's really special when you do, you know? Just again, like, it's that thing where you think you're being present, and then when you actually take a moment to just stop and look, and there's some cliffs in the distance, you really see it, and the birds and seagulls obviously run this town, so there are seagulls everywhere. I'm surprised that they're not squawking. And here, like this bar, in the summer, I remember when I first moved, I was like, are we in Ibiza or something? Because I'm like ordering a pina colada and it's like really hot, and people are dancing and there are DJs and we're on the beach, and I know it's not that, but it felt kind of like I was on holiday. But it's gorgeous, and you know, I think one of my first nights here, we had some drinks, and then people were like, we're going to make a bonfire on the beach, and I was like, do I live in a film? Like, this is amazing that this is just what you do, and barbecues on the beach, and I don't, those moments are really just beautiful and special. And so yeah, that's where we are. I love, people are kind of like, oh, I'll come and I'll visit you when it's warm, and I'm like, it's actually kind of amazing when it's cold as well, because this thing of like mapping the different things that happen in a landscape, and I love noticing when the sea is grey and when it's blistery and I have like my balaclava on, and the sea it looks like something different, and the colours look like the colours are deeper and richer maybe, and like it feels more atmospheric. I love those times. Oh, it's just such a good sound. The waves, you know. And yeah, the sand is to my right. The cliffs are growing closer. There's a bit of grass, some hilliness, more people walking. Quite a few people doing, I think, some repairs or some like decoration to their beach huts, because we're approaching that time in summer when things are going to get used a lot more. But yeah, we remain on the beach. What does living by the sea mean to me? Living by the sea means to me, it means a lot to me. It means feeling grounded, it means feeling safe, it means feeling like, I don't know, when there's water nearby, this thing that we actually started the conversation talking about, which was home. Where there is a body of water, I feel like I am home in many ways. Proximity to that feels really important and necessary for me. Like, moving to the sea, in many ways, it was like this metaphorical cleanse in my life. And so whether I am here forever, or I don't think I'll be here forever, but I love being here. I don't think anything is permanent, right? Everything is subject to change, but I will forever be grateful of this moment, what it's given me, what it's taught me, what has helped me to see, and how it's helped me to get back to myself and like who I am, and what does Liv want and what does Liv need. I think like I was quite detached from that for a little while, and so that is a huge thing for the sea to have given me.
Liv's sense of calm and comfort in the space around her was palpable as she walked, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's got you thinking about where you feel most at home. Next time, we'll join Tom Leonard, also known as the Drag Queen Gardener, in a place where he feels very comfortable, as he tells us the one thing that really makes a garden. Remember, if you haven't already, to give us a follow on your podcast app, tell a friend about the podcast, and check out @Canopy Stars on Instagram to see footage and photos from our days out recording.